Hello, welcome to the course SJPHY3BO3 Electrodynamics 1. The contents of this course is taken from Introduction to Electrodynamics by David J. Griffiths. Today's class we will continue to discuss topics from Chapter 1 Vector Analysis. In the last class we have seen vector differential operations, mainly gradient, divergence and curl. And if you recollect, these are the first derivatives associated with the del operator. Now, by applying del twice, we can construct second derivatives. So let's first take second derivative of gradient. Now, gradient is associated with a scalar function and the output is a vector. So we can take a divergence and curl of this vector. So there are two second derivatives, divergence of gradient del dot grad t and curl of gradient del cross grad t. Similarly, when it comes to divergence, divergence is associated with a vector and the output is a scalar. So the only option is to take a gradient of the scalar. So you have gradient of divergence del of grad v. On the other hand, curl is a vector, so you can take divergence and curl of the vector. So consequently, you have two second derivatives associated with curl, a divergence of curl, del dot curl of v, and curl of curl, del cross curl of v. So let's consider one at a time. First, divergence of gradient. So del dot grad t you can expand in the component form, dou by dou x cap plus dou by dou y cap plus dou by dou z cap dot grad t dou t by dou x cap plus dou t by dou y cap plus dou t by dou z cap. Take the dot product. So take the product of similar terms. You get dou square t by dou x square plus dou square t by dou y square plus dou square t by dou z square, which you can call as a del square t. Now this operator del square, which is equal to dou square by dou x square plus dou square by dou y square plus dou square by dou z square, this is known as a Laplacian operator. This is a very important operator in electromagnetism. Some of the very important equations are represented using the Laplacian operator. Now, though Laplacian is usually associated with scalar, you can also write it in association with a vector. So in the case of a vector function v, you can write del square v equal to del square vx x cap plus del square vy y cap plus del square vz z cap. So the first term is the Laplacian of the x component. So even though this is written as a vector function, in effect Laplacian is associated with only the scalar components. Coming to the second derivative associated with gradient, curl of gradient. Now let's find out what is the value of curl of gradient. You can write it in the determinant form, and when you expand this you get dou by dou y into dou t by dou z minus dou by dou z into dou t by dou y x cap minus the y component and z component. Now the first term here is dou square t divided by dou y dou z, and the second term is dou square t divided by dou z dou y. Now as long as the t is continuous, you can interchange the derivatives. So in effect, the first term is exactly same as the second term. So these two cancel. Similarly, all these components, they get cancelled and you get a 0. So this is a very important result. Curl of gradient is always 0. Next one is a second derivative associated with divergence. So this is gradient of divergence. And this very rarely you encounter this in physical applications. So it's not that important. It is just a gradient of divergence. Moving on to second derivative of curl. First, divergence of curl. Now if you expand this and write it in a determinant form, just like the previous case of curl of gradient, you will find that the divergence of curl is also 0. So you can do this as a homework. Finally, the last one, curl of curl. You expand this, you get del into del dot v minus del square v. So first one is gradient of divergence, and second one is Laplacian of the vector. So in effect, you have mainly two second derivatives. One is the Laplacian and another is the gradient of divergence. And all other second derivatives are either 0 or a combination of these two. Let's quickly do one problem. Calculate the Laplacian of the following function ta equal to x square plus 2xy plus 3z plus 4. Similarly, another vector function v equal to x square x cap plus 3xz square y cap minus 2xz z cap. So you have a scalar function, vector function. You have to calculate Laplacian for both. So first the scalar function, you know the definition of Laplacian. So find out the each component. So dou square ta by dou x square, you can do the math. This is 2. For the remaining terms, you get the second derivative being 0. So del square ta is the x component, which is 2. Similarly, for the vector function, so you have to find Laplacian for x component separately, y component separately, and z component separately. So let's first do for the x component. So dou square vx by dou x square, you get 2. Similarly, dou square vx by dou y square, which will be 0. Similarly, dou square vx by dou z square, this will be 0. So del square vx equal to 2. The same way you can find out del square for vy and del square for vz and write it in the component form. You get the total second derivative del square v equal to 2x cap plus 6xy cap. So you just follow the definition of the del operator and the Laplacian operator. You can derive all these values. So that's about differential calculus of vector. Let's now move on to the integral calculus. So we have mainly three types of integrals: a line integral corresponding to one-dimensional function, the surface integral corresponding to two-dimensional function, and the most general one, the volume integral corresponding to a three-dimensional function. So let's first talk about line integrals. So suppose you have a function v, a vector function v, which changes from point A to point B. Then the line integral of the function from A to B can be written as integral A to B v dot dl, where dl is an infinitesimal displacement, an extremely small displacement along the path from A to B. Now, if you are considering a closed path, meaning the initial point A is same as the final point B, so this is a closed loop. In that case, you can write it as a closed line integral. So this is the symbol for closed integral v dot dl. Now, what's the meaning of this integral? At every point, you are calculating the product of the function given by, represented by this vertical line, and the displacement to the nearest point, which is this horizontal line. So if you take product of these two, you get the area of this interval. So you calculate area of the first interval, calculate area of second interval, so on and so forth. Finally, you add up all these individual areas. As you can make out, this will give you the total area under this curve. So line integral is nothing but total area under the function. Now you will encounter these kind of line integrals very often in physics. For example, if you take classical physics, line integral of force is nothing but work done. Similarly, in the case of electromagnetism, line integral of electric field, integral E dot dl is the electromotive force or EMF. Typically, the value of the integral depends on the path taken from A to B. But there are certain functions for which the line integral is independent of the path and it depends only on the endpoints. Now, such functions are known as conservative functions. So, in classical mechanics, you will learn about central force field like gravitational force or electrostatic force. All those forces are conservative forces. So consequently, the work done is path independent. Now let's do another problem. Calculate the line integral of the function v equal to y square x cap plus 2x into y plus 1 y cap from point A, initial point 1, 1, 0, these are the coordinates x, y, z coordinate, to the point B 2, 2, 0 along path 1, which is this path, and along path 2. So you have to calculate the line integral along these two paths. So you're also asked to find out the closed integral v dot dl for the loop that goes from A to B along 1 and returns to A along 2. So you start from here, go all the way to B and come back to A. So you start from A and end at A. So this is a closed loop. So we need to find out integral v dot dl, and if you are considering the Cartesian coordinates, dl is dx x cap plus dy y cap plus dz z cap. Let's first find out the line integral for path 1. So path 1 has two segments. One is a horizontal segment and one is a vertical segment. Let's consider them separately. So as you can make out, in the case of horizontal segment, the movement happens only along the x direction. Consequently, the displacement along y and z are 0. So dl is just dx x cap. And along this path, the value of y is constant, y equal to 1. So v dot dl, this is nothing but, since you have only x component, this is y square dx, y equal to 1. So this is equal to dx. Now we can calculate the integral v dot dl. And since you are considering only movement along x direction, look at the initial and final value, the limiting values of x. X start from 1 and ends at 2. So integral 1 to 2 dx, which is nothing but 1. Same way, you can calculate the line integral for this vertical segment. Here, movement happens only along the y direction. So x and z component are 0 for dl. So dl is dy y cap. And value of x is constant, this is 2. So v dot dl is 2x into y plus 1 dy, and x equal to 2, substitute that value, you get 4 into y plus 1 into dy. Once again, apply the limiting values, y changes from 1 to 2. So 4 into integral 1 to 2 y plus 1 dy, do this math, you get the value 10. So that's for path 1. So you have value 1 for the horizontal segment, value 10 for the vertical segment. So the total line integral is 10 plus 1, which is 11. Now for path 2, this is path 2, you can make out at the starting point x equal to 1, y equal to 1. Similarly at the end point x equal to 2, y equal to 2. So throughout this path, x is equal to y. Consequently, you can write dx equal to dy and dz equal to 0. So dl can be written as dx x cap plus dx y cap. You calculate v dot dl and also you apply the limits. So it changes from 0.1 to 0.2. So these are the limiting values of x. So you get the value 10. So along the first path you get the line integral value 11, along the second path you get the line integral value 10. Now for the closed loop, what is the total value? So you start along path 1 from A to B and you come from B to A against path 2. So this value is 11, from A to B along path 2 is 10, but now you are moving in the opposite direction of 2. So that gives you minus 10. So total value of the line integral for this closed loop is 11 minus 10, which is 1. Moving on to surface integral. Surface integral of a vector function v is defined as integral over the surface v dot dA. Now this is a dot product, meaning these two are vectors. So dA is known as the area vector. Now what is meant by area vector? This is a vector whose magnitude is equal to the area of the given surface and direction is perpendicular to the area. Now, why do we need this concept? This is particularly important if you have to specify the orientation of a 2D surface in a 3-dimensional space. Now, if I say that my area vector is parallel to the z-axis, now you can easily make out the surface is along the xy plane. If I say area vector is at 45 degree to z-axis, now you can make out the orientation is this manner. So whenever you want to specify orientation of a 2D surface in 3D space, you use the area vector concept. Now, as I said, the direction is perpendicular to the surface, so you have two options: either it is in the upward or outward direction, or it is in the inward direction or the downward direction. So you can choose any direction. So usually by convention people take the outward direction as the direction of the area vector. Similarly, for a closed surface you can define the closed surface integral using this symbol, and the physical meaning of a surface integral for a vector function is this gives you the total flux of the function through the given surface. Now this becomes very important when you talk about the electromagnetic field. So in the case of electric field, you can write integral E dot dA, which gives you flux of the electric field through a given surface S. Similarly, when you write integral B dot dA, this gives you flux of the magnetic field through the given surface. Before winding up, let's do a quick problem. Calculate the surface integral of the vector function v equal to 2xz x cap plus x plus 2 y cap plus y into z square minus 3z cap over the 5 sides of a cubical box. You can exclude the bottom side. Let upward and outward be the positive direction as indicated by the arrows. So we have 5 sides. For each side we need to calculate the surface integral of this function. Let's take the first side, this side, where the area vector points along the x direction. So for this side is along the YZ plane and x value is constant, this is 2. And since this is in the YZ plane, you can write the area vector or small element of area vector dA equal to dy dx x cap. Now you can take a v dot dA. Since you have only x component, this becomes 2xz dy dz. Now value of x equal to 2, you can substitute for that, it becomes 4z dy dz. Now the surface integral becomes integral over y and integral over z. So this is a double integral. So 4 into integral over dy into integral over z dz. Now what are the limiting values? Y changes from 0 to 2. So these are the limiting values for y, and z also changes from 0 to 2. So this is equal to 4 into integral 0 to 2 dy into integral 0 to 2 z dz. You can do this integral, apply the limits, and the value is 16. Same way you can find out the surface integral for each of these sides, and the total surface integral will be sum of each these values, and the total value is 20. Now you can do this as a homework. I have done the integral for only one side. You can calculate the integral for other sides. The next class we will discuss about volume integrals. Thank you.